Welcome to the 2024 October 16th, 2024 Weather Guru edition. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest interpretation of weather news and weather conditions in the lower 48 United States, as well as tropical weather conditions as we continue to follow hurricane season as it ends November 30th. So we're going to look at the National Weather Service current hazards right now, and there's a dip in the jet stream that's allowing some cool air to filter into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, and that's why we have this purple here, winter weather advisories. There could be some frost and some hard freeze warnings, especially north of Pennsylvania here and along the Turnpike, north of the Pennsylvania Turnpike into the Adirondacks and the Green and White Mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire, as well as the Berkshires and through the southern Appalachians here as well. So just be on the lookout for that as well. We also have red flag warnings along the Gulf Coast here. Extremely dry air is filtered all the way down to the Gulf Coast, while it's providing relief from the humidity. Fire burning dangers remaining all the way from the Panhandle of Florida along I-10 from Tallahassee to Pensacola to Mobile, Hattiesburg, over toward New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and over toward the just east of the Houston area. And we also have red flag warnings in the Central Plains here. So if you're in Omaha, Wichita, Kansas, Kansas City, north of North Dakota and South Dakota, and over toward Minnesota and Iowa, you want to be careful about burning things out west as well, and the Four Corners area, and also in California, some of the northern central valleys of California. Now also for us here, we just have a freeze watch in effect for just north of Las Vegas and also into Salt Lake City, Utah, and those areas to the east of Salt Lake City, Utah, and the valleys there is a freeze watch in effect for you guys as well. Now we're going to change gears here and go to tropical weather here. As you can see, the tropical next name on the list is Nadine, and we typically see, climatologically speaking, in October, we see storms form in the Western Caribbean, Eastern Gulf of Mexico as they ride along fronts or interact with cold fronts coming down from the north, or just off the coast here along the Gulf Stream here in the Atlantic Ocean towards Bermuda here. We see storms most likely to form here. Now, that's not to say we cannot get storms outside of this area. This is just climatologically speaking the last 30 to 50 years where we've seen storms go in this type of track before. Now, looking at the current satellite here, you can see the water vapor here. You can see a big upper level low feature here. And you can see this feature that we've been watching here for quite some time here, this Invest 94L. This has been given up the chances now, up to 40 to 50% chance in the next 7 days of developing into something. If it gets a name, once again, it'd be Nadine. But this is going to affect more of the greater Antilles here, and also heading toward like Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Dominican Republic, toward that area there. And we'll see how it interacts with those mountainous areas of these various islands here, if it makes it across here. Right now, it's finding a lot of dry Saharan dust area here. It's finding a lot of dry air, and just hostile winds. Wind shear above in the mid and upper layers of the atmosphere is creating the hostile winds here. You can see this dry air in orange, denoted in orange here, and this frontal boundary here, this cold front. And then out here, you have dry air in front of it, in east of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and Anguilla, U.S. and British Virgin Islands, as well as Dominican Republic. This dry air in yellow and orange is just cutting off any type of moisture in the upper level, so it can't get vertically stacked right now. However, the Hurricane Center has given it a 30% chance of development, 20% chance of development here. Once again, we have this Central American gyre here that's producing the organizing showers here, counterclockwise flow. So we're waiting for those two areas to develop. This one's going to take longer to develop than this one out here in the Eastern Atlantic here. So the 7-day forecast, this has a higher chance, obviously denoted in orange here, as it makes its way across the Central Atlantic. And this one here, this area is only given, like I said, 20% chance in yellow here, less than the 40% chance here along the Central American gyre. Now, if it moves north and goes inland into the Bay of Campeche, then it probably has a higher chance than if it moves inland along these mountainous areas here of Honduras, El Salvador, and stuff like that. So it depends. We'll have to wait and see next week what we're dealing with here. But in any case, Nadine is the next area, the next name that we have here. And Nadine, this Invest area of 94 here, as you can see in Invest 94L, it does have sort of a symmetrical form to it, but the low pressure has not spun down to the surface yet, and become a warm core low where you have a tight gradient around it. But it is still producing some a little bit healthier convection here along the southwest and western quadrants of the system, but a lot of it's already being sheared off here. As you can see, this westerly shear is blowing off some of the tops here as it continues to try to make its way in the central Atlantic here. So that's what we're dealing with here as far as tropical concerns here. And once again, the next name is Nadine and then Oscar. So either one of those two systems here that I showed you here that we're investigating here, the track guidance has been tightly monitored here. Most of the track guidance has continued to have it put it over the Anguilla, U.S. Virgin Islands, and then between the islands of Vieques and Calibra of Puerto Rico. Eastern Puerto Rico, Loquillo could get hit by this, and then it tracks just into the mountainous region of Hispaniola. If it goes into the makes a direct impact on Hispaniola, that tends to break apart system because the mountains are 10,000 feet tall over Dominican Republic and Haiti. But if it tends to go to the north here, if it's a stronger system, it'll go to the north like the models have predicted and to stay offshore. If it's a weaker system, it'll go continue going west and interact with much more land features, which tend to break up systems like this. And so this is what we're looking at, the early track guidance for this system here. So I just want to give you that brief update here on Invest 94L and other tropical areas that we've seen here. The Eastern Pacific is quiet. The Central Pacific is quiet toward Hawaii. We have no problems with that as well. And so that's all the activity we have right now for this season right now this week. So this has been the Weather Guru update for October 16, 2024. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel. If anything you'd like me to address, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back with you shortly. Thank you very much.